the new standard in performance and safety. At $35,490 fully equipped and 7-year warranty, the all-new MG HS is value you've never seen before.
Cam Gliddon, welcome. Special guest on Gibbo Goes One, driven by the world famous MG. Mate, welcome to Melbourne.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for having me on. I've been waiting for the call.
I was saving it, after the big reveal and whatnot. But obviously, just congrats on the new contract. Super happy to be playing with you again. Talk me through the move and your first kind of dealings, I guess, being in Melbourne.
Yeah, obviously the move was a bit chaotic. We signed and got everything booked before the kind of peaks and coronavirus cases happened. So had everything booked, furniture on the move, cars on the move, and then from then came all cancelled flights and things like that. But happy to be here. We're moved into our home, as you saw before everything kicked off. You helped us move in, which I appreciate, mate. And yeah, man, looking good, and had a couple shooting sessions and enjoying it all so far.
How have you found? Obviously, you've been able to meet most of the guys down at the Phoenix, coaches, admin, everyone. How's that all kind of been? Your first, I guess, impressions of the club?
Yeah, it's next level professional, mate. Like the amount of people I've met in the last week has been crazy. It's obvious that when they brought this team in, they want it to do well and they're not taking any chances. They've got people employed that handle everything and real professional people as well. So yeah, meeting everyone's been good. Just need to remember some names and yeah, we'll go from there.
And obviously you've been talking to Simon throughout this whole process. Obviously you're coming to play for his team, but first impressions of him, I heard you say, he knows more than you, knows more about you than what you probably thought. He puts a lot of time in his players as I've worked out, but your first impressions of Simon, our head coach? Yeah,
exactly right. When I was talking to him and thinking about coming here, he was just talking to me about what I can do on defense and offense, and it's obvious that he takes a lot of interest in his players, things they can improve on, things they do well, and how to showcase what they do well. So I was blown away a bit by how much he knew about me. Obviously, I didn't know too much about him. Being an assistant coach at Melbourne United and then his first year at the Phoenix, that was the first I saw of him. And on the sideline, I love his passion. He's all about it. He's into every possession, which I love. And yeah, just a guy that does his homework, and I love that. I'm a big preparation guy, so I think we're going to work well together.
He would have talked to you about your role coming into this team. Has he given you kind of some guideline, anything he expects or wants you to kind of come in and play with?
Yeah, he wants me to play with a bit of freedom. He stated that, we run a lot of stuff that's pretty good for the guards. We run a lot of pin downs, a lot of turnouts, and a lot of guard play coming off on balls. So I'm going to get my opportunities to score and make things happen. So it's just a matter of being aggressive and taking those chances. And when we played against you guys last year, the way you guys moved the ball and got open threes, it seemed like it was easy for you guys. So I'm looking forward to being on the end of a couple nice passes, but also just keeping my space and letting the other guards go to work as well.
Now, that's a very politically correct answer. So basically, we want you to come in, shoot the shit out of it, jack up as many open shots or as shots as you can, and just let it fly. Like you said, it is definitely a guard-orientated system, and a great shooter like perfectly come in and just kind of let it fly. Because that's what I feel like we will need from you as a team.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to be aggressive, but I think I've played with you before, Gibbo. I think the best shot is the person that's the most open. So if I'm half open and you're there with the extra, I'm going to throw it to you every time. So I think we've got some great shooters, and I think he's bringing in guys that match his system, which is good. And yeah, we'll go from there. But obviously we've got some good bigs too in Dane and Creaky at the moment. So yeah, a bit of everything.
You've obviously been able to, everyone in the league knows everyone, but you've obviously been around Kyle, Dane. You haven't seen Creaky yet, but, Dane's kind of like yourself, a bit of a joker, takes a piss a lot. Just good fun to, I guess, meet those guys properly and be around them for the last week.
Yeah, it's been sweet, man. Obviously, it sucks with everything going on that we can't properly go grab a coffee and just chew the fat for an hour or something, but Yeah, Dane's hilarious, man. Like, there's not a moment goes by you just look at him and you can start laughing. And Kyle's good value too. He's a bit more cool with his approach. But yeah, good dudes, and yeah, had a bit to do with them for a week or so at the Boomers earlier on in this year, and from then on we kind of kept in touch and chatted here and there on Instagram, just sending memes to each other and stuff. And Dane's pretty good at that too.
Obviously, it's been it's a great time to be in Melbourne right now with the COVID and whatever. You've lived in Cairns for a bunch of years, Brisbane, so you've been in Queensland for probably 10 years. How are you adjusting to the nice warm weather of Melbourne, probably 3-4 degrees every time you leave your house?
Yeah, I'd actually, so far, I haven't minded it. I went to Christchurch for a while, and that actually, it did get on my nerves for a while. I know you talked to Emmett a bit already on this podcast, but there was days where we got to practice and I was on the sideline in my hoodie and pants and just not happy at all. But lately it's been all right. Like, it's been bearable. Simon pushes back training a bit further than Mick Downer does, so we start a bit later, so I guess it's a bit more time for the sun to come up. And yeah, it's weird to see just dudes run around in pants and hoodies at practice, but you got to do what you got to do. And I'm happy to be in this environment, to be honest. Obviously, Southeast Melbourne, huge basketball hub, and Melbourne alone, huge basketball hub. So I'm happy to be here.
I love free agency. You see where players are moving to and changing teams to. You know, Goulding staying in Melbourne, Blanche is going to Perth. You know, Humphries has come back to Adelaide. Some young kids are moving around, Glover to Sydney. Do you follow that stuff? And are you watching any teams and thinking, man, they're going to be? I mean, obviously every team's tough, but have you kind of seen any teams you're like, man, they're going to be a real problem come the season?
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny, you know, like at the start of the year, you look at the rosters on paper and you go, damn, that team's good. But I guess someone's got to win and someone's got to come dead last. So something's not going to work out for some teams and something's going to go really well for others. But it is fun watching it. And obviously rumours about Cam Bairstow popping up and Sunday Detch and stuff. So looking forward to see where those guys go as well, because they're good mates of mine as well.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see where Sunday goes, because I mean he's been working out and he's going to be a problem. I mean he's a problem, but he's going to be tough in the next few years. Any idea where you think Bairstow might go?
Tough. Going off his personality, it could be anywhere. You know, he's a bit out there. But I don't know. I don't think it'd be back in Brisbane, so that leaves another 8 teams. I don't know. Have to weigh up the equations of where they need 4 and 5s, but I'm thinking it's going to be East Coast somewhere. I've got a safe bet there. There's a lot more teams on the East. I don't know, mate. I might throw it a bit at, he might be in Sydney.
Sydney?
Yeah, it's just a guess.
I was going to say Perth, but yeah, Sydney could be a good one. Now, your family obviously got a young family. I mean, you've been with Sarah for a long time now, your wife, and little Penny, who is an absolute gem of a little child. How's it been being a father?
Yeah, it's awesome, man. I was having a chat to Av, our physio at the club, and he's due soon as well. Or his missus is due, not him. And it's just awesome, man. Like, it makes the tough days way better when you come home and see her. And it makes the good days even better when you come home and see her. But obviously the sleep has taken a bit of a beating. Get up a couple of times a night feeding her, and you're on guard 24/7. Like, as you saw at our place, wherever she crawls, you're following her around. It's awesome if they just sit in one spot, but they don't want to do that. So it takes up your life, but it's like, it's rewarding as hell. And you get like small pleasures out of the small things they do. Like, she might just look at you and smile, and it's the best thing ever on that day, you know? So definitely the best thing to happen to me.
And you've got 2 dogs who I was lucky enough to live with in Canterbury for a couple of weeks. They got held up. They got held up on the plane. Their flight got delayed. I know you love your dogs just as much as you love little Penny probably, but how have they adjusted to Melbourne life and their new backyard?
Yeah, they're like, since Penny come along, they've been a bit neglected from the start. They were inside dogs, couldn't do anything wrong. Allowed on the couch, allowed on the bed, do everything you want. But since she's come along, we've been a bit strict with them, put them outside for most of the day. I think they feel it, like they feel something's changed and I don't like care for them as much as I used to. but they're still the most spoiled dogs, kind of like your dogs. So I think they like it. Like, they run outside, they play a bit. The cold hasn't seemed to get to them as much, but yeah, tough move. They've jet setted, man. They've been from Cairns to Brisbane, Brisbane and New Zealand back to Brisbane, Brisbane and Melbourne. So they're pretty lucky dogs.
Also, your brother Michael, he lives in Melbourne. It must be obviously cool to be closer to some family. I guess now on a regular basis that you can catch up with him and see him, and whatever he tells me, he's got the best mow in the family. But it must be good to be back around, I guess, your brother.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. We haven't lived in the same place since 2006 when I took off to the AS. So it's a long time to be away from your brother and only get to see him 2-3 times a year. So really good. And I think it's really good for Penny as well, obviously, with all the isolation and stuff. She's been stuck inside, not being able to mingle with people and get those people skills down. So being able to pass her off to him and let him play with her for an hour, it's been like really good for us, but really good for Penny as well. So yeah, good just to have a guy to go to coffee with and get away from the game.
You grew up in Bunbury, famous little town in Perth, WA. Another famous name, Mark Worthington, also grew up in that same little town. Would you consider yourself the best basketballer to come out of Bunbury? Because I know if I ask Wortho, he's for sure going to say himself. But did you guys have? I know you're close with his brother. Did you guys have any kind of contact growing up? And I was a bit older, but
yeah,
anything to do with each other growing up in Bunbury before you both left?
Nah. First off, I'm humble enough to say he's done a lot more with his career than I have. But no, yeah, I grew up with his brother. His brother's 1 year older than me. We played state teams together all through, so I had a lot to do with him and his family. But Mark had always been gone. I moved down to Bunbury when I was 13, and I think he was already in college or something. So yeah, he would have been in college. So I never actually met Mark until I was about 17, and he just popped by for a shoot around at like a local recreation centre or something. That was the first time I met him. And then really had nothing to do with him until my first year in the league when we played against each other. So now I haven't really had too much to do with Mark, but have had a lot to do with their family, and they're good people.
Like most of us that have been on this podcast, went to the AAS. Must have been a lot of fun going there, leaving home probably for the first time. Probably 2 years there of just running amok with guys similar age, just being able to play basketball for a job must have been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. It was really cool. I went a bit early. I graduated in WA from high school when I just turned 17. And then I took off for the AS around October. And I was at the AS from October all the way to the following August. And I turned 18 the day I graduated. So a lot of guys, while they're there living in Canberra, get to go to moosies and stuff like that and have a bit of, refresh yourself on the weekends from everything going on. But I didn't get any of that because I was 17 the whole time, but loved it. Loved every minute of it, and probably a blessing as well. I know some people, your Paddies and maybe Hugh Greenwood as well, and guys that have been there for 4 years, it probably gets a bit old, kind of the routine and being stuck there and not being able to do too much. So me only going for 8-9 months was pretty cool, and had some good times, played with some good guys, and playing with Paddy and AJ Ogilvy and Bubbles when we went on tours was cool.
Now you went to college, you went to a smaller college. Were there offers to go to a bigger college, or was it just kind of not an unknown kind of thing? So, the smaller college was the best route.
Yeah, no offers, mate. Like when I got done, like I said, I was in the younger pool of players.
Cool.
So pool of players. So Paddy, AJ, and that were older than me. I was in the middle. So when I was going to leave, I didn't get a chance to tour USA, or I wasn't a big name in the team. I didn't garner much interest, I guess. So when my time was up, Marty kind of said to me, do you want to try for a development spot in the league, or do you want to try to go to college? And I hadn't even thought about college, and I was like, I don't think I can play in the NBL at the moment. I'd love to go to college, but it's July. I haven't talked to anybody. And I was just lucky enough that one of my teammates at the Tute, Ben Smith, went to Concordia, planning to go to Concordia for a year or two, get his grades up, and then transfer to St. Mary's. So lucky enough, they picked me up and took me in without a scrap of video, without knowing who I was, really just knowing that I was a shooting guard, I was 6 foot, whatever I was, and that I had eligibility. So it was the only school that contacted me, only school I could have went to, and it just turned out to be a great fit for me. Small school in the middle of Orange County, California. They win a lot of games. Coaches were great, which is a huge thing going to college. A lot of people have those problems there. And met my wife there, 5 years in Southern California. Couldn't ask for much more.
Now let's talk about your last season, because that was the best, and this is something I never knew about your college career. Your last season, you guys won the national championship.
Yeah.
You guys were down 16-1 to start.
Yeah.
You were player of the tournament.
Yeah.
You made the most threes in a national tournament in that tournament.
Yeah.
I believe.
Who did you hit up for that plug?
Did I say player of the tournament? I did, I think. And then All-American for that year.
Yeah. So, like, my first 3 years, I guess I was a bit of a role player, up and down in stats and stuff like that. My fourth year, or my final year, coach just gave me the reins to kind of just do whatever and be aggressive and shoot any shot I had. And, yeah, had a great year. And our team was not that good, to be honest, compared to the year before, but we just gelled so well, and everyone knew their roles a bit better than the year before. So went on to win the national title and got flogged with awards, which was great. But also I had a great teammate in Austin Simon who was just as worthy of everything. We kind of co-led that team. So yeah, but great last year. And it was great also because I was nearly not going to go back. I was going to sign with the Taipans for a year between my junior and senior year. So the decision to go back to finish school and play one last year of college basketball really was a great decision.
Now, obviously, you went to NBL after that. How did that all happen? Like, obviously, being a smaller school, I'm assuming not a lot of NBL teams would have maybe known who you were, or I don't know how that process all works. All works, but obviously Cam's picked you up. Was it just some kind of relationship with Fernie, or how did that come about?
Yeah, it's tough, man. Like you said, I didn't have much interest. So when I'd come home between years, I'd work out with Sean Dennis, who was assistant coach at the Wildcats at the time. Between my junior and senior year, I made the World University Games team, and that was coached by Mick Downer and Adam Capon. So I went to that, and I did pretty well. And from that, Mick invited me to Cairns to just do a workout with the Taipans. That's when they offered me that 1 year deal. I flew down to Townsville and done a workout with them. And between every year, like I said, I was working out with the Wildcats. So after my college career got done, the Wildcats and Cairns offered me a deal. So I was happy to go to Cairns. Perth just had a championship year with Kev Lish at the 2, and I thought that spot's pretty well taken up. So I'll go to Cairns and try to make my own way there.
I was going to ask this later, but as soon as you brought it up, obviously being from Perth, Wildcats probably your home team growing up. Was it just a case of there's other players in your position that you never during contract years wanted to go there because there was a logjam in your spot? Like they've always had unbelievable 2-3 men. Or is there somewhere along the track that you might want to go back and play back at home at some point?
Yeah, it's a tough one, man. Obviously, my family's there, and I'd love to play in front of them every week and be able to see them a bit more. I think, yeah, it's been a bit of a case of opportunity. They had Kev Lish there, and then the next time I was off contract, they had Bryce Cotton, and those both MVPs of the league in my position. So, yeah, it's just a case of would I fit in there? I gave it some serious consideration before signing with the Bullets, but yeah, it just sort of didn't seem like I would fit there, and I wouldn't want to go somewhere and not play my position and hinder the team at all, or not be able to do what I know I can do. So every time I've kind of talked to them, it's just been a better option to go elsewhere, but that doesn't mean in the future it could not happen. But yeah, it's just been kind of difficult.
Now back to Cairns, obviously you're there for a long time. I mean, you guys had some unbelievable runs. Obviously you're a Rookie of the Year, your first year, NBL Rookie of the Year. That's something pretty special that, I mean, not a lot of people get to, I guess, achieve. So, I mean, the talent was obviously there. And then after a few years, leading your team to the minor premiers, you guys were probably should have won a grand final. Obviously had a lot of good years leading your team, I guess, in Cairns.
Yeah, it was great, man. 6 years there. It seemed like it just breezed by, but I learned a lot. I got a lot better. I got a lot better as a leader. Fernie kind of pushed me into the role of being the captain. It was obviously voted upon, but I think he was hoping I'd get it. I was like so dedicated. I still am so dedicated to basketball, but I guess back then you're trying to make your name. So you're doing everything right, and you're doing everything with energy and really disciplined. And I think he wanted, as we had young guys come into Cairns, a guy that kind of portrayed that kind of stuff to lead the team. And yeah, I mean, we made the grand final and got a bit unlucky. I think New Zealand were just a bit too experienced for us, and with all their tall blacks in the squad, they really came out firing in that final. And it would have been nice to win that, because after we went to the finals, I re-signed for 3 years because I was like, yeah, we've got something special here, and we'll win it next year. But it just goes to show how hard it is to even make the grand final, because I've never been back. And hoping we can get there this year or next year with the Phoenix. But great times up in Cairns, no regrets, and had some good teams.
Anyone that probably now that thinks of Cam Gliddon as a basketball player would know he's a knockdown shooter, lights out, like offensive threat, like don't leave him open. When helping, and this is something really paying any attention to, but helping you move and unpacking the trophy boxes, and you're pulling out all the trophies and putting them up in the display for everyone to come in and see when they come into your house with some defensive player awards. Is it a case of so focused on the offensive end that sometimes it's energy and it takes a lot to play both ends at a high level? But obviously you were a defensive player of the year in Cairns. Was that something that just kind of progressed more to the offensive side?
That was a good day, by the way, Gibbo.
Unbelievable day, unpacking all your trophies and just seeing you pop them up and whatever. But yeah.
No, man, I guess at my college, we you just go do your thing. I'll continue talking when you get back. At my school, I'll take it back. Before I went to college, I couldn't play a lick of defense. Like, I just didn't know how to keep a guy in front of me. It wasn't lack of effort. I just didn't know how to do it. And then I went to college, and we never played zone. We played full court man every single game. And off the ball, we played denial lanes every single game. So playing that for 5 years really improved my on-ball defense. And then coming to Cairns, the level of talent went up, and I couldn't rely on myself offensively as much, but I knew I could play defense. So I mainly focused on the defensive end and try my best to lock up guys and do my best there. And nowadays, just kind of a two-way player. I try to do my best on defense and my best on offense, but it's tough at the two-guard position, as you know. Like, there's some great players out there in the league, and but you have to bring it every night, otherwise you get shown up.
I feel like you told me this about Fernie, and you said about your college coach about just giving you kind of a green light. Like, Fernie gave you a green light in Cairns to come over. It was for 1 year or whatever it was, but like, he wanted you to shoot a lot of shots. And then I think the pre-season tournament, you won the Ray Borner medal for the MVP. That just by, I guess, your mindset and just being more aggressive, which I know I'll be telling you that here, but that happened in Cairns for a year, and then from Fernie.
Oh yeah, definitely. Fernie always encouraged me to shoot it. He never told me I couldn't shoot or ever I shot a bad shot. But I guess just the pace we played at, like, I was able to average about 12, 13 points a game in Cairns, and people kind of thought, that was like, okay. But I thought that was pretty good in terms of we only scored like 75 points a game. So, we just played at a slower pace. So sometimes jacking an early triple or getting one up before 15 seconds on the shot clock just didn't seem right. Then I came down to Brisbane and we played a bit faster, and I was able to have that pretty good year, my first year with you. Bit more of a license to just do whatever and not think that I was going away from the team philosophies. So I feel great being given the green light, but as a basketball player and as a guy that wants to get the best shot every time down the court, sometimes I will pass up one just to see if there's a better one. But I love when my teammates and coaches have a lot of faith in me to keep shooting.
And then obviously you came to Brisbane. That was just you wanted to change, more opportunity. What was the decision to leave Cairns and come to Brisbane?
I've always been given a lot of opportunity in Cairns. It was 100% just a change. Had been 6 years going into the same facility, seeing the same four walls, running the exact same offense every year. And as much as you can get pretty good at it, it also gets a bit tiring and stagnant, and your mind just needs to be expanded a bit. So yeah, coming down to Brisbane was just to kind of get out of my comfort zone, I guess, and try something new.
Anytime you play against an old team, it's always good to go back there and win there. So I remember one of our wins in Adelaide, because I've obviously played there before, the game winner you hit in the corner to seal the game. Like, I can't remember what play we drew up or anything, or how it all kind of transpired, but what was, you caught the ball and just let it fly like you shot that shot a million times kind of thing? Or what was going through your head when you hit that game winner?
Yeah, man, I guess I was pretty angry because we had a lead for a bit of that fourth and we lost it to a tie anyway. No, I just went through. I was feeling good that game. That's been my best game in the league thus far, my whole career. And I was going to take it no matter what, just because I was feeling good. Even if it was an average shot, I felt like it was going to go in. So when I actually got a bit of space and was able to be wide open, I had no doubts about it. So yeah, that was a good feeling, man. And I'm happy I got that for you, because when I go play my former team in Cairns, I've never won up there since I've been gone, and have stunk it up pretty bad. So I need to get some of your mojo, I think.
We'll try and make that happen. You mentioned you went Canterbury Rams. I went and played there, filled in for you at one game because you were away or a wedding or whatever. And you got to play back with Mick Downer. You got to live with Emmett Nah. Like, I like being able to, I guess, live and play on different teams away from the NBL with other players in the league, because you get to know them and learn about them. And like, Emmett's an awesome dude. That must have been fun to go over there and play in New Zealand in what's a great league itself in the off season.
Hell yeah, man, that was fun. And I wanted to go back again. We had Penny, so that derailed that, and also what's going on in the world derailed it. But yeah, it was awesome, man. Like you, I like meeting other guys and other teams when we're on Boomers trips and stuff like that. But this was the first time actually having roommates since college, so it was cool to just be living in the same house, come home, have some banter, and do whatever. But yeah, Emmett's fun, man. He's a really good dude, and he's a different dude. Like, he's not like the normal lad that is just a basketball player. He was single man at the time, I guess, but just laid low and cooked his meals at dinner time and ate his meals on the couch watching TV, done a bit of stretching and went to bed by 9 p.m. He's just a different lad.
Did a lot of stretching. He might be the oldest young player I've been around, but I mean, he's either a pro or his body's just like got that old man body. But just a funny dude. Like, I had him on here. I was seeing this hilarious, like, great humor, like quick-witted, and just fun to be around, and an awesome player to play with as a shooter, playing with a point guard that just wants to drop dimes and get assists all game. It's a lot of fun.
Hell yeah. No, he was fun, man. Yeah, like you said, just dry humor, but heaps funny as well. We got into going to quiz nights every Tuesday, and we sucked. Like, we sucked. It was myself, Emmett, then we'd bring along like a couple of the teammates, the misses and that. But most of the questions were like New Zealand based. Like, if it got to sport, we're like, hell yeah, here we go, 10 in a row. But it'll be like New Zealand cricket, New Zealand rugby, and we'd just 2 out of 10. But what they do is they project the scores of each team, like a live scoreboard, and we're always like at the bottom. But yeah, that was a reality check. But yeah, he's a good dude, man. Good fun.
All basketballers want to represent their country. You've obviously been able to do that. Junior stuff, junior teams or whatever. The FIBA windows, Com Games, been able to win a gold medal in Australia. That must have been a lot of fun, and a lot of fun to be around. I know that you guys would have been pretty happy that New Zealand got knocked out to not make that final game, but to be able to win a gold medal is pretty cool for your country.
Yeah, Com Games was great. A lot of good lads there, and yeah, it was funny. Well, not funny for them, but watching them play Canada for the gold medal entry. They were winning all game, and Canada hit this miraculous shot to win it. And as much as you want to play New Zealand because it's a great rivalry and this and that, they came pretty close to beating us in the in the pool game. So when it got to them losing, it wasn't like a exhale of a bit of relief, but it was just like, okay, I think we've got this in the bag kind of before we even take the court, and that's not a good way to think. But we'd just done Canada by 35 5 nights before, so obviously it would have been good to play them and a bit better game, but it was great to win a gold on the Gold Coast and have my whole family there and stuff. It was awesome.
And then talk to me about the World Cup campaign. I mean, obviously, unbelievable team to be part of. The whole run was amazing. Obviously, didn't end how any of us wanted to, but being a part of that whole process.
Yeah, it was sweet, man. Obviously, making the team to start with was sweet, and then doing all the tour and stuff with the lads, and that was the best team I've ever played with in terms of talent, for sure. And just obviously I didn't play much at all, but just watching from the sideline, I was just so happy to be a part of it. And it's just a shame that it ended the way it did, because I think we showed how good we were during the first few games, and for it to end with that Spanish stuff. And then I think we were just too deflated going into the bronze medal game to get it done. But those lads are awesome and good fellas to be around. And hopefully in the future I can be in another tournament like that. But I know how competitive it is to make those teams nowadays. We've got a lot of NBA players and a lot of up and comers that are crazy good. And if that was my time in the Boomers main team, it's awesome. But if I could do it again and make another one, that would be great too.
I want to talk about your selection. I don't know if you expected to make the team, knowing you probably didn't think you might. I don't know, who knows. But around the whole process around making the team, like obviously it's cutthroat. There's a lot of great Australian basketball players that play. And at camp, I don't know if it was the whole camp, the whole week, or if it was a one day where you just came in and just were lighting it up, like knocking down shots. I remember when I made London Olympics, Pete Crawford also made that team, and he had just an unbelievable, couple of days where he was just knocking down shots. And in these tournaments, you need players to play a specific role. So it might be someone coming off the bench and just being able to knock down shots. Talk me through that whole kind of week or a few days of, how that all kind of happened.
Yeah, man. So I done my hammy the day before we went down there doing some running, and then I had to miss the first 2 days of a 4-day camp. And I was just talking about this the other day actually, but as I was kind of doing some rehab on the court next door, I could just see the ball kind of getting swung around and the ball movement was great. But then the finish, people just kept missing shots, and it's obviously due to you're at camp and everyone's tired and you've got these brand new molten balls that are not good. So I thought if I come in day 3, day 4 and I'm allowed to train, if I just knock down these shots to finish the play, it's going to look really good. And just as fate would have it, somehow I just couldn't miss. Like I had 2 days, I probably missed one shot out of every scrimmage we'd done, and I made every other one. And for some reason, the ball just kept finding me. It wasn't like, because that day's camp, sometimes you don't get the ball because there's a lot of talent, and maybe you just space in the corner and it doesn't come to you, or whatever else happens. So the ball just happened to keep coming to me in the right spot, and I just kept making the shot. So I think it was like a Peter Crawford moment, or Ryan Brokoff talks about that's kind of how he made his first team as well. Just got wet for a while, and the rest is history. And I was happy to make it. Obviously got a bit of backlash because people thought I shouldn't be in it or whatever, but I worked my ass off to be at that camp, and at the camp I worked hard and played well. So I actually would have been disappointed if I didn't make it, because I performed well. But to make it and just be that guy that's sitting on the bench cheering and just training hard and helping prep the boys, that's fine with me.
Well, I think that's what makes Australian teams so good, is you can't play 12 players. You never can. Maybe 8, maybe to 9 players. But you have guys that sulk and obviously want to get on the court, but are still happy for the guys that are out there. That's what makes us so good, and that's why we will win a gold medal, I think, in the next coming tournaments. But yeah, you're right. Like I think Brokoff did the exact same thing. Came in, had a couple of days where it's just lights out, and that's what you need in major tournaments. You need players to come in off the bench, probably cold, haven't played the last 3 games, and just being able to knock down shots. I think Pete Crawford may have got that chance against China in London. So yeah, I mean it's pretty awesome to be able to be a part of that team and be one of the 12 best players in the country is pretty special.
Yeah, I think so too, man. And yeah, just a great experience, and I'll never forget it. And yeah, just being there and being around the lads, and yeah, it was unforgettable. And like I said before, if that's my stint in the main team, so be it. I'm happy with it.
Now, I always ask people questions to ask. Do you have a favorite NBL arena that you like to shoot at, or like you always go to? You're like, man, I love playing here. I think someone said New Zealand's, you always get pretty hot in New Zealand, but is there somewhere where you just love going to be able to play games?
Yeah, I think it is New Zealand, man. Like, I don't know what I don't think it's like been my whole career, my 8 years, but maybe the last 4 or 5. I just get hot there. I don't know what it is. I think it's, and I like doing it in Perth too. I think they're the staples, the benchmark of the league the last decade. So you want to have good games against them, and you want to show that you can be at that level too. And maybe it's a bit more focus, or maybe just, I don't know what it is. But yeah, I've had some good games in New Zealand where I just feel like I can't miss. And also a bit in Adelaide too. Had some blinding shooting displays anyway in Adelaide.
Yeah. Favorite teammate? Obviously, I'm not putting myself in this, but you play with a lot of different guys, a lot of different teams. Favorite teammate that kind of stands out?
Yeah. Oh man, tough. I guess all my basketball mates are kind of my best mates. At my wedding, I had 6 groomsmen, more than the usual, and all of them were my basketball teammates. So in the NBL, it'd probably be your Bruceys, your Weeksies, your Maccas, people like that. People that just come in, work hard, have a laugh, and aren't too serious about themselves.
You have some unique tattoos. Is there any explanation, reason why the tattoos that you have?
No, not really. I mean, I had a little Australian-based tattoo on my chest and didn't like it, so I wanted to cover it. But the problem was it was kind of spread out, so I had to cover it big. And my favourite movie growing up was Peter Pan and Hook. We used to watch them back and forth, watch the cartoon, watch the real life one, whatever. So I thought, why not just do a ode to those lads, and got that on my chest.
You thought that would be cool, did you?
Yeah, thought so. I've got some grief from it, but I've got a lot of positivity as well. So who knows? Haters
are gonna hate, mate. Did you have anyone you looked up to as a young kid, young basketballer? Obviously, your family and parents and whatnot, but anyone you kind of like, man, like he's awesome, like a basketballer that you kind of idoled?
Yeah, I guess in the NBL it was Ricky Grace. Being from WA, watching him growing up, just having a cash 3-ball, but also just I was a point guard growing up for so long, so just controlling the tempo and doing what he done and doing it for so long and being one of the greats. He was him and James Harvey, because Harves was at Perth at the time, were great.
You just said you're a point guard growing up, so you haven't always been a shooting kind of wing. You kind of started out as a bit of a PG?
Yeah, just through lack of height. You know how when you're younger, it's kind of how tall you are as what position you play. I was always pretty short, so growing up, I played the point guard until I got to the institute, actually, and then I could shoot it all right. So Marty kind of moved me to the 2 to play alongside Paddy rather than on the bench.
TV shows, I know F1 is a great TV show. Formula 1, Drive to Survive. Do you have any other? Is that your favorite TV show right now, or?
It's what I'm hooked on right now, and there's only 2 seasons, but it's taken me so long to watch it because pennies can get a bit crazy. But I kind of just, if I'm watching TV, I'll just flick on the In-Betweeners just for a laugh. Reruns of the In-Betweeners and a bit of the Ricky Gervais show. I don't know if I got to get you on both of those as well, mate.
F1's my show. Who's your what?
You into it?
Who are you with? I'm up to season 1, Ep 9.
Are you up to there?
Yeah.
Tell the fans how defensive you were when I told you to watch this.
Well, I've got a lot going on. I'm obviously very busy during the COVID lifestyle, and you just threw it at me like. And I'm not a F1 races kind of guy, but it's more like a story about each team and the drivers that they have and how tough it is to keep your spot on a team. And Daniel Ricciardo obviously features heavily on it, and he moved to the team that is kind of a rival to the Red Bull team and whatnot. But it's not bad.
If I'm choosing, I like the German fella at Haas.
Yeah,
you know him? He's pretty good value. He says some funny stuff. But they're American team. I'm probably on Force India, to be honest. Yeah,
solid.
Bit off the cuff, but whatever.
Now, my last one. This is you've lived in Queensland for what would you say 9 years now?
8 years.
8 years. 8 years in Queensland. Obviously, the Forex is the well-renowned beer in Queensland. I don't know whether you kind of lived by that when you were there, a couple of beers here and there, but rumour has it that now you've converted to Melbourne Victoria Bitter, the beer now the drink of choice. Can you confirm or deny that rumour? Are you just like, when you live in that state, you like to support, that kind of that brewery, or what is that?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of that. I'm not really a snob. I don't drink the craft beers or anything like that. Just kind of whatever's available and decently priced. And when I got down here, my brother jumped on Jimmy Brings and got me a slab of VBs. So I've been converted.
I like it. Mate, that's all I've got for you. Thanks for joining me. I know you're pretty busy over there across the golf course with your daughter and whatnot, but I can speak on behalf of all Southeast Melbourne Phoenix fans that I'm pumped to have you here in Melbourne. It's going to be fun once we can get out there and actually run around and do some basketball, proper basketball. But, mate, thanks for joining me. Gibbo Goes One driven by MG, and I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, brother. Appreciate it, man.